Following over 2 months of intense and extensive political action, the 2024 Lok Sabha elections is well and truly over. The NDA is back in power, and Narendra Modi has taken oath as the Prime Minister of India for the third consecutive time. In Karnataka, the results yet again prove that the people of the state vote differently in assembly and parliamentary elections. As the dust settles on one of the most keenly watched poll seasons, let us evaluate the electoral outcome in the state. What do the numbers say about the unexpected upsets and the strategic gains this elections? Did the Congress's guarantee schemes work, or was the BJP too overconfident? Between class and caste, which one had a greater impact on people's votes? Namaskara. Welcome to Decode Karnataka, a show where we give you the most incisive analysis on everything you need to know about the state. The BJP, which was decimated in last year's assembly elections, won 17 seats in the just concluded Lok Sabha polls. However, it also faced some upsets in the North Karnataka region, where the Congress wrested key seats away from it to increase its tally to 9. Interestingly, these results are identical to the state's outcome in the 2014 elections. While the Congress's 5 guarantee schemes, its major poll plank, could not help it break the single-digit jinx, it seems to have contributed to increasing its vote share from 31.88% in 2019 to 45.43% in 2024. A lot has been said about how and why Karnataka voted the way it did this elections. But our episode today will focus on the numbers. And to decode the electoral trends and voting patterns that Karnataka displayed these polls, we have with us today Dr. HV Vasu, the community head of Kannada web portal edina.com. Hi, Dr. Vasu. Thank you for joining us today and thank you for being on Decode Karnataka. So you and your publication have the distinction of accurately predicting last year's exit polls, the pre-poll survey that you did for the 2023 Karnataka Assembly elections.
And you can also say we were not so accurate in the Lok Sabha election.
Yeah, that is what has happened. So this time it wasn't that accurate, and that is a conversation about not just yours, but a lot of the exit polls that were presented. So, in terms of the figures that were proposed then, predicted then, and what we have now, what we are seeing now, how do we make sense of it? The results in Karnataka?
Well, most of the exit polls, not just most, all the exit polls predicted between 350 to 400 plus for BJP and NDA. And that shocked everybody, those who are into actually research and also surveys. Because each survey agency will have a different set of sampling. But if sampling is correct, then everybody should get the same. But generally, that does not happen. You don't speak to the same set of people. And each person will have each agency will have their own methodology, all that.
Yeah.
But when you looked at the exit polls on first evening, everybody had given the same number. So that was actually a sort of annoying also, because we are also in the same work, though we don't do exit polls. In fact, we question the relevance of exit polls itself, because in the next 2 or 3 days, you will have the actual counting, and why do you have to do this exit poll? But anyway, so that was surprising. And when we looked at our numbers in Karnataka, a very big gap of say 14 to 15% gap between Congress and JDS BJP alliance was shown by one important exit poll agency, that is My Axis India.
Yeah.
So that actually, we got puzzled and we looked at the different data that they had put out. In fact, we must appreciate My Axis India, because they have at least put out what is their sample size, what is their methodology, and what are the different demographic representation in their sampling, all that they had put out. And no other agency even bothered to put it out. So this is one of the criteria to see whether an agency is credible or not. When we looked at it, then there was serious problem in the sample. For example, they said 31% women and 69% men in their sample. So, but they had extrapolated it to 50-50. That was okay. But what they had not extrapolated was the representation of uneducated people in this country. So they had put it at 15%. But in Karnataka, if you see, 24% people have not gone to school. 24% of the electorate. So at the All India, maybe it is even more. So, and those people vote more than others. So then there is a problem with this methodology or sampling itself. That is what we counted at that time. So anyway, but to come back to the relevance of exit poll, I think that exit polls are not necessary at all. So except for some media hype, you don't need that. So that is our position on it.
Now, the Congress's guarantee schemes were projected and promoted as a program that targeted the low income class, cutting across caste lines. But somewhere the Vokkaliga Lingayat caste dominance and the coming together of BJP JDS for that seems to have overshadowed what was perceived to be a sort of ground level impact that the guarantees have had. But how much do you think caste and class played a role in the electoral outcome this time?
Well, once the results were out, there is a discussion in Congress circles. Some of them have openly said it, that guarantees have not worked in this election, so government has to reconsider it. It is very actually disturbing to hear such things, because so basically to gather votes, you are rolling out welfare schemes. That should not be the case. But anyway, I feel that guarantees have worked to an extent, given the fact that the most backward area in Karnataka has voted for Congress. It is the Hyderabad Karnataka region, Chamarajanagar, and Chikkodi. These are the districts which are actually, Chikkodi is relatively backward than Belgaum, and Chamarajanagar is one of the backward districts. These districts or these constituencies have voted for Congress, number one. Secondly, women have voted more in favor of Congress in Karnataka. That is what our surveys have shown us consistently. And the third one, Congress has increased its vote share. In fact, whatever 45 plus percentage vote share that Congress has got is actually the highest votes that Congress has got in the last 30-35 years. So the Congress has gained because of these guarantees also. But anyway, that apart, you shouldn't actually only always think about whether this scheme has worked in elections or not. But as you rightly said, the JDS and BJP alliance has worked for them. This was clear even before election. And when we did our survey, just 7% of BJP and JDS voters were unhappy with that alliance. So since both the BJP and JDS are in anti-Congress space in Karnataka, for their cadre and even voters, it was not an unnatural alliance. So it has worked well for the NDA here. So that is there. And that also tells us that it's a caste election more than, say, on welfare programs and other things. It looks like the BJP's main vote bank, that is Lingayats, and JDS main vote bank, Vokkaligas, have come together. But if you put it only like that, also it is incomplete. In fact, if you see in 2023 elections, almost little less than 1/3 of Vokkaligas had already voted for BJP. And little more than 1/3 of Vokkaligas had voted for JDS. So together they have now voted for the alliance. So, and there was no contradiction in that for them, that now they are voting for a different party, because for them it is a natural leaning instead of voting for Congress. If you remember, that did not happen in 2019 when Congress and JDS were in alliance. It was an unnatural alliance at that time.
You spoke about it just now about Kalyana Karnataka and how the BJP hasn't done well there. Now, as expected, it did capture 4 of the Bengaluru constituencies. It did well in the old Mysore region. It of course captured the coastal constituencies, which was a given. But the biggest upset in Kalyana Karnataka, how do we see that? Like, where are we going to pin the reason? Can it be attributed to the Congress, Mallikarjun Kharge sort of persistent campaign push that we saw, or is it leadership vacuum that even the BJP cadre is talking about in that region?
There are several factors. Actually, in 2019, BJP had won all the seats there. In fact, it had won most of Karnataka at that time, except that even in 2014 election, Congress had won. Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge had won from Kalaburgi. And in that region, it is one of the most backward areas in Karnataka. The more oppressed sections, Ahinda communities in that area compared to Mumbai, Karnataka. And of course, as you rightly said, Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge and his position, many other things, they have combined. But if you see, it is not just 1 or 2 seats. It is entire Kalyana Karnataka voting for Congress. And this was clear for us since 2023 July itself, because we have been tracking it through various surveys, wherein the approval for guarantees was also highest in this area compared to other areas. So that shows also the relative economic status, a relatively lower economic status of the people in that area. So that is how Congress has got more seats there, and BJP has lost all the seats.
Okay, but what does it point to, sort of what the BJP probably lost in terms of its leadership?
Well, yeah, leadership vacuum is an issue, but that was there even in 2019, right? So I do not say that it's only leadership vacuum.
Okay.
Of course, the leadership of Sriramulu in that area, from Raichur to Ballari, it has actually, the aura has come down now. Sriramulu himself lost in this election. All that is there. But I think this may also push Congress to think that the guarantee should be targeted at certain sections, not universal guarantees. But how far it is a good measure is to be discussed. But it looks like that the more poor people are with Congress. This was seen even in 2023 Assembly election, that it was not a caste thing alone, but a class thing also. That the more and more poorer sections of even the upper and dominant caste were voting for Congress, and the rich oppressed communities, oppressed caste, they were voting more in favor of BJP. So both of these things do work in this election, and you can see that it is not just in Karnataka, but even at the all India level. Congress and India Alliance parties were pushing more for welfare programs and also caste census and saving constitution, all that. But while the BJP, though it tried to push that welfare narrative from their side also, but they were not successful, as you can see in Uttar Pradesh.
Okay. With the NDA at the center and a resurgent Congress in Karnataka, how will the political dynamics play out in the years to come? We will continue to explore. For more such analysis, tune in to Decode Karnataka. Follow The Hindu for more such stories and videos.